Hello. Am I live? Am I live? Hey y'all. I that song there's a remix of Bob Marley's song by I think it's Lauryn Hill and maybe Ziggy Marley, and the chorus is and I try and I try and I try and I try. That is me today. I tried to get here on time. You know what they say about CP time. For those of you who are not CP, it stands for colored people time. That's what like the old folks in my family used to say. Um, I'm on CP time, and a lot of people would say that time is a made up construct. So maybe I'm not really late, right? Maybe I'm right on time. As the old Negro spiritual song says, I'll substitute myself for he. She may not come when you want her, but she's always on time. Right? The song goes, he may not always come when you want him, but he's always on time, referring to God. And I'll just replace the pronoun of he with she. I may not come when you want me to, but I'm always on time. Yay! How you doing, honeybees? As you can see, I am the ring light is making me like super shiny and bright, and my hair is still wet, but I'm here and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here. Hello to all you lovely people on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, all my honeybees. We are going to talk about love again today. This is How to Love Yourself, part 2. And before we do that, I need a deep breath. Do you need a deep breath? Have you told yourself to breathe today? Let's take a few cleansing breaths before we get in deeper on how to love ourselves. And one thing that I think is really important about loving yourself is taking care of your body, getting enough oxygen, having a settled mind and spirit. So let's do that before we begin. So at your own pace, just take a deep breath in, whether you're sitting at work or at home, wherever you are in the world, you may still be in bed. Go ahead and roll your neck. See if there's any kinks or any pops. Let's just relax for a bit. Roll your shoulders. Let's take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold at the top and release. One more big deep breath. We're going to, let's say, go in for 3, hold, and let out with a sigh. So deep breath in. All right. Shake it out, honeybees. Shake it out. Oh, that's so good. I don't know about you all, but I forget to breathe. Sometimes I am going a mile a minute and I forget to breathe. So that was a reminder for you to breathe today. All right, class is in session. Let's go, honeybees. We're going to talk about loving ourselves. Okay. So we left off yesterday at when you can't love yourself, let compassion sit beside you. And I did the funny, kind of articulation of having compassion. What is it called when amorph amorphization? Is that the term? Y'all know I'm a nerd. When you prescribe human characteristics to something that is not human, typically it's done with like cartoons or animals. Okay, amorphization refers to the process of converting a crystalline material into an amorphous state. Okay, that's not what I was looking for, but we all learned a new word today, amorphization. Once again, the process of converting a crystalline material into an amorphous state. That is not what I was looking for. What's the term when you turn non-human into human characteristics? Okay, so we're just doing a little sidetracking here. Okay, it's anthropomorphism. anthropomorphism. You think I would know that being an anthropologist, right? Anthropomorphism, the term for giving non-human entities human characteristics. This involves attributing human traits, emotions, or intention to animals, objects, or even abstract concepts. Ooh, y'all, I'm sorry if I wouldn't have. That's anthropomorphism. I'm sorry, y'all. If I would not have done that right now, it would have been gnawing at me during our time together. And I want to focus on you. So, the anthropomorphism, this is where we started. I said of compassion, right? So, I'm acting like compassion is a human with human traits and characteristics of compassion, right? So, as a reminder, when you can't give yourself the love that you deserve, and that might be because of unworthiness, you may feel unworthy. You may be going through a deep depression and you just don't have the energy to give yourself the love to take care of yourself in the way that we're discussing right now, or the way that you know that you should be loved. Just let it sit next to you, right? Maybe you don't have the energy to go outside, take your shoes off, and ground in the grass, in the dirt, right? Which grounds you to the earth. That's a way of showing your body love. You might not be able to do that, whether because you live in the city or you just don't have the energy. You might not have the energy to take a bubble bath or even to take a nice warm shower. You might not have the energy to turn on beautiful music or binaural beats or affirmations. Sometimes it be like that. It could be because you literally don't have the time. Maybe you're taking care of others, like a family, young people that need you, parents, loved ones in the home that can't take care of themselves. So even if you aren't able to give yourself love that the way that I'm suggesting, or the way that you know you need it, um, just have the love sit right here beside you, or lay beside you, or let's have the compassion be in your realm without you having to do, right? I often say that we are called human beings because sometimes we just need to be, right? Sometimes we just need to be without always working towards something. And I am definitely a what's the word? I am not a victim, but I am someone that does this all the time. Just like with you all, everything that I'm telling you, I do. I take my shoes off and ground. One thing I have found recently that I'm going to start doing to start helping with my depression and my anxiety is when I feel those anxious thoughts and I start getting overwhelmed. I said I'm going to not only just go outside, but I'm going to start pulling weeds, which is so interesting because as a kid, I hated pulling weeds. Oh my God, we had to pull weeds like every Saturday. So I grew up on a lot of land, right, with a lot of grass and a lot of weeds. And the Saturday morning ritual was, at least in the summertime, my mom would get us up in the morning, put on the gospel music. Sometimes it'd be Diana Ross. And one very fond memory I have is the Diana Ross song, Upside Down. Boy, you turn me inside out and round around. This is just I love that I'm singing more. You know, I'm trying to bring more joy to you as I bring it to myself. Don't mind my flat notes, my off key. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. And hopefully me singing off key is giving you some joy. Once again, we're not going to try to do it perfect. We're just going to do it. So anyway, that's one song that I remember my mom playing that wasn't gospel. And she also liked the Clark sisters and stuff. So we'd get up in the morning, we clean, and then we would pull weeds. And I effing hated pulling weeds. I hated pulling weeds. I just wanted to watch cartoons with my sister or watch the Twilight Zone marathon, right? We only had like 3 channels growing up. because I lived out in the country and we didn't have cable. And for you younger people out there, there was like no Wi-Fi, there was no computers, so we we just watched Twilight Zone episodes, which I absolutely love. Um, so I hated pulling weeds as a kid, and now as an adult, very recently, like a couple weeks ago, recently, I just started pulling weeds. I just started pulling weeds and connecting myself with the earth, even if I'm pulling the weeds, um, communing with the green and the plants. It relieves my anxiety. I get a good sweat in. It makes my dad's landscaping look nice. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. Okay. So now the young me never would have thought that the older me would be happy pulling weeds. But look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Okay, this is going to be a singing episode. I'm going to start calling it Kim's live karaoke. Maybe one day I can get some guests to come on here and we can just do karaoke songs. Speaking of that, before I get back to loving yourself, let me tell you this one time I went to like a karaoke. It was kind of like a bar with two women I didn't really know very well. And we had all signed up to sing songs individually. And I signed up for Beyonce's Single Ladies. Y'all know how I sing. You've heard me. You've heard me sing. I signed up to sing Beyonce's Single Ladies. Remember that? Oh, the single ladies, the single ladies, put your hands up. Dun, 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 just broke up, doing my own little thing. You decided to do it. Now you want to trip because another brother's noticed me. If you like it, then you better put a ring on it. If you like it, then you should. Okay, I'll stop. So I sang that song, and you heard how I sang it. Except this was in front of like maybe 25 people. These particular women went to the bathroom, and I, just stayed. And it was my turn, and I had no one cheering me on. And I was like, and I sounded like that. And the crowd looked how you could imagine. Even with all my enthusiasm and bubbliness, I bombed. No one clapped for me. Maybe I got a few pity claps. And, someone else was like, yeah, that is kind of a hard song to sing. And I was like, huh. I quickly realized that these two women that I went out with were not my friends, which, bringing it all back, is another way to love yourself. When you have people that don't encourage you, even if it's something as silly as karaoke, think well enough of yourself to be like, yeah, I'm not going to karaoke with them ever again. And I didn't. But that was just a funny story about my singing. And I tried to weave in the love in there, but it works. So, and that's interesting because I think a lot of times, particularly for those of us who are reformed people pleasers, and perhaps for those of you who are still people pleasers, we overlook or we excuse when people don't treat us well, right? And it could be something. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna change this. The lighting, it is killing me. Is that a little better? Okay. I don't know why it was making that weird lighting. But when someone doesn't encourage you, when someone doesn't show you support, when someone doesn't congratulate you when you've done something well in your life, or when you're going through turmoil, that I think is a form of self-love, of not only noticing that, but distancing yourself from that person or those people, right? Because they don't have your best interest in mind when you have theirs in mind. So that is something that I had to learn throughout the decades, throughout many people, friends, romantic partners, family, that were not so much family. My family's pretty supportive. Friends, romantic partners, I've really had to learn many times and the hard way about people who don't support you. And there was a time that I did not love myself, so I let that go. Oh, they were just having a bad day. Oh, they're just not as supportive as me. I mean, it could be anything. But really, I want all of you, like I said, especially women, because we tend to be doormats for people. Culturally, we are socialized like that. So I really want, like I said, particularly women, everyone, of course, but particularly women to notice when people aren't supportive of you, when people make fun of you. These are your friends, your family, your romantic partner. When people dismiss something that you think is important. That is an extreme part of loving yourself, is not taking crap from other people, right? Standing up for yourself. And I'm not talking about a verbal confrontation. I'm saying noticing it and limiting what you share or the time that you spend around that particular person, if at all. I will tell you in a heartbeat, cut people off if they are not loving you the way that you love them. Now, unfortunately, that's not viable for a lot of folks, and I understand that. Could be family members, it could be your spouse, it could be people you work with, so you can't just get up and quit. um, but really limit yourself. And when I say limit yourself, I mean protect yourself. Stop yapping so much to them about your future goals, your plans, your feelings. Stop spending time with them. Just like I said, the women who didn't support me when I was singing the horrendous version of Single Ladies at the karaoke, who went to the bathroom. And y'all, I later found out what they were doing in the bathroom, which is why I didn't go to the bathroom, right? Right? Limit your time away from destructive people. That is a form of self love. That is a form of being compassionate to yourself, is to learn, watch, and observe how other people move, and then going the other way. Because over here, we're trying to live our lives sweet like honey. And you can't live your life sweet like honey if you're surrounded by haters in your inner circle, right? It's fine to have haters on the outside. Cat Williams, the comedian, says, if you don't, I'm going to paraphrase, but he was like, if you don't have any haters, you're doing something wrong. I know people hate on me. I know people are like, oh my God, she's too bubbly. Oh my God, why is she so nice? Oh my God, I hate her hair. Oh my goodness, I hate her singing. I've actually never heard anyone say that, but the other ones I have. Why are you so happy? Why are you so positive? People will find anything to hate on you. And to live a life sweet like honey, you have to notice the people that are hating on you. Keep that in mind so they don't run all over you and so they don't steal your joy, right? So that's one point I wanted to bring up about letting compassion sit beside you, right? Once again, I said this yesterday, you don't have to force love, just create a space for kindness. Like I said, if you are in a very depressed state, if you're in a fight, the fight, flight, or freeze, and then I think it's also fawn. If you're in one of those states, just have room for kindness if right now you're not able to build yourself up. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Normalize moments of despair or numbness, then introduce compassion as a bridge back to love. So, once again, I was talking about the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right? So, the freeze is when you are just numb. You can't do anything. Perhaps you're scrolling a lot. Maybe you're overworking. I think a lot of addictions would classify as numbing yourself out, whatever that addiction is, whether it is fentanyl, meth, heroin, or shopping, social media, eating. An addiction is an addiction, and it's trying to tell you something. It's really numbing because something is going on. And until you're able to get yourself back on track, like I said, have that normalize that moments of despair will happen. And in those moments of despair, this is really interesting because I just talked to my therapist about this yesterday. In these moments of despair, just treat yourself kindly, right? Like I said, you may not physically or mentally or emotionally or spiritually be able to do some of these things that I'm offering, but you can just be kind to yourself. We are our harshest critics. Yes, I said "are" twice. We are, A-R-E, R-O-U-R, our harshest critics. And we are so hard on ourselves. This is what I was talking to my therapist about, because as I was telling her how easy it is for me to encourage anybody in the world. This is why I come on here, because not only do I find it easy, I find it enjoyable. And it brings me joy and it brings me light to empower, to encourage, to motivate, to tell you that you are the best honeybee, that you can do it, that no goal that you have is too big, to keep going, to keep doing it, right? That I got your back, that you can do it. If there's something that you're thinking about, if there's a goal that you're like, I'd really like to do that goal, but wow, it's big. And you're just like, I can't do it. This is where I come in. Like, why not you? Why can't you do it? Maybe you can't do it tomorrow. Maybe you can't even do it next year. But who says you can't do it? I can do that in a heartbeat. I can do that in a heartbeat. I can listen to someone and then project back to them their amazingness, their goodness, their talent. I can see what you don't see. And so easy, so easy, so easy. This is why people in grocery stores come up to me and tell me their life story. I had a woman, this was about a year ago. I was in a Kroger grocery store, and I'll never forget this. We were both looking at like olives, right? I don't know. We were just commenting how expensive olives were. And this woman turns to me and just starts telling one moment we're talking about olives, the next moment she's telling me about her cancer diagnosis, how she fought cancer and she was in remission, but now it's back and she's scared and she doesn't know what to do. And I counseled her in that moment. I coached her in that moment. I empowered her in that moment. I gave her hope in that moment. I say this not to brag. I also can't tell you how many people have come out to me, right? And I think it's because um I provide a safe space for people, no matter who you are. I think a lot of people feel very safe with me and very non-judgmental, right? And I hope that that's the case. And as I was telling my therapist that it's so easy for me to be a light to others, to be like, girl, you got this. Or do you know how amazing you are? Um, and so very hard for me to do it for myself, right? There's times that I coach myself, like, yeah, Kimberly, you got this, you got this. But 99, maybe 90% of the time, I'm like, oh my God, life is hard. I suck. What the hell am I doing? What's going on? What should I do next? So when I tell you that we are our harshest critics. And in those times that we are our harshest critics, that's when we sit back, take a deep breath. One of my favorite affirmations is from Louise Hay, and she says, all is well. Everything is working towards my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come, and I am safe. I repeat that at least 50 times a day. So that's when I say just have kindness be around you, have it sit next to you. You got kindness over here, compassion over here. Let that be a bridge when you're feeling very critical, when you're feeling very numb, when you're feeling in despair. Let that moment pass. And honeybees, what's my favorite saying? What's my favorite word? No, not that word. My favorite saying is, as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself, right? But I did like the too short the too short reference. Hopefully someone got that. What's my favorite word? As I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. That's a much more positive thing to say than that song. Shout out to the Bay Area. And also happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. I should have started that in the beginning. My Black people here in America and the diaspora are very near and dear to my heart. And happy Juneteenth. Love yourself, Black people, because this world does not love us. All right. Guess I'll have to do another one about self love in the face of racism, in the face of misogyny, in the face of homophobia, in the face of xenophobia, in the face of, you know, what's it called when someone doesn't like your religion? You know what I mean? It is very difficult to love yourself when the world tells you that you're no good, right? When the world tells you that you're evil or you're bad or you're ugly or you're not smart. So, for all of you, no matter your nationality, your race, your gender, your non-binariness, if you're trans, if you're LGBTQIA, if you're Black American, if you're a Black immigrant, if you are an immigrant, I'll say it. I love you, right? We need so much love in this world and in this country. And y'all, I talked about this yesterday. The world, like how to love yourself when the world is crashing and burning, right? And then on top of that, how to love yourself if you are part of a marginalized community in a world that's crashing and burning. Because there's a phrase that I've heard before that I love, and it says when America gets a cold, Black people get the flu, right? I would actually say when America gets a cold, Black people get pneumonia. Meaning that Black people in the United States of America have gone through so many trials and so many tribulations and so much anger pointed at us and so much hurt, just so much hostility, so much violence that to this day, sometimes I go places and I don't know how I will be perceived or how I will be, if I will be accepted, particularly in this climate. And it's sometimes hard to navigate. So I just wanted to put that out there. As I say, happy Juneteenth. I stand in solidarity to anyone who is feeling isolated and hurt and is having violence inflicted upon them. I stand with you. And once again, bringing it about back to self-love, this is the time, y'all, that we need to love ourselves deeply. Not only love others, right, and be allies to others. That no one's free until we're all free. But I cannot help people get free until I am free. And one big thing to me about being free is loving myself. And I'm trying to encourage anyone that I can. If I had a message that I had to shout out from the rooftops, is love yourself. Because I think, here's my hot take. Get ready for it. Get a pencil and paper. Write this down. I think if everyone loved themselves, there'd be no war. There'd be no hate. There'd be no violence. There'd be no deportations. There'd be no war. There'd be no riots. There'd be no police shootings. There'd be no executive orders that are rolling back human and civil liberties. I said it. I think if people all love themselves, then they would love others. Will that happen? Maybe not in my lifetime, but maybe one day. I don't know. I hope so. As I mentioned yesterday about the systems, people are worried about the world and the systems crumbling around them. And then my IFS coach, Philippe, saying that they heard it's not the world, it's a world of hate, a world where people don't love themselves. So if you don't love yourself, you can't love others, right? I always tell people, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. I have been, I'm saying this because I have been someone that has not stayed in her lane until very recently. I was always in other people's business, trying to fix this, trying to fix that, getting in other people's business. I think because I didn't feel like I was worthy to fix whatever was going on with me. It was way easier to try to fix someone else. I think this is where Karens go wrong. And as a reminder to everyone that the term Karen was started by the Black community about white women coming in telling Black people what they could and could not do. Now, like, everyone's a Karen, but let's remember the roots. And I think a lot of that comes into play is because those people that are deemed Karens don't love themselves. Because if you love yourself, you're not going to complain about anyone else, right? I'm going to need lip gloss for this story. Very recently, a couple weeks ago, I went to a friend of a friend's party. They were watching the French Open, and there was a woman there, and she was complaining. This was the very last day of the French Open, and one of the tennis players, I don't know where he was from, she kept commenting on his teeth. Like, the first time she was like, wow, his parents should have got him braces. And then the second time, wow, he'd be cute if his teeth were straight. And then the third time, wow, he should really do a partnership or brand deal with Invisalign. And in my head, I am like, what's up with this woman talking about this? And, this kid he's a young man. He's like 23 playing at the French Open, right? Like, one of the best tennis players in the world. I forget his name. He was the one that didn't win. Very cute young man doing his job. He's at the French Open, right? And this woman, I was just so interested about this woman remarking on this man's teeth. And y'all know me, I couldn't let it slide. I should have, but I was like, well, because I'm all about culture and defending people. I probably should have stayed in my lane and minded my business. But I was like, in other cultures, the same aesthetic as the straight, pearly white teeth isn't valued as much as it is here in the United States, right? As long as your teeth are strong and healthy, they don't need them to be straight and perfect like we in American culture do, because this man was an American that was playing tennis at the French Open. And that kind of shut her up. And once again, I was a guest, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said it. But I was like, dude, what's up with you talking about this man's teeth, right? And as I was reflecting on it later, I was like, you really only complain about other people if you have some insecurity in yourself, right? Same thing with self-love. If I love myself to the bone, like, I'm not going to talk smack about someone else. And not saying that I never have. I have. I've talked smack, especially about some celebrities. Sometimes I still do. A lot of it is rooted in truth, though. But when I notice that I'm just disparaging someone for no reason, or when I notice other people are disparaging someone for no reason, I feel like there's some envy, there's some jealousy, but definitely some insecurity in that person. So I don't know what this woman's insecurity was. I don't know if she wishes she was as good of a tennis player as him. Maybe she didn't like the country he was from. Maybe she didn't like her teeth. I don't know. But I just found that very interesting. So looping that back to, if everyone had this deep, abiding sense of love for themselves, they wouldn't talk shit about other people. Because why? Right? I find the more I love myself and give myself compassion and give myself kindness, remember, compassion over here, kindness over here, we're all friends. Yeah, we're all friends. I don't have time to talk shit about other people. And I say this as someone who's half a century old. I've had a lot of time to learn and reflect on this, and I've made a lot of mistakes. So if I am triggering someone out there, know that whatever that trigger is, I've been triggered too, because I have done those things that I'm talking about. And if you are triggered, and if you're like, F you, Kimberly, this sucks, I deeply implore you to look inside your heart about what I'm saying that's triggering you. Because I have found with myself and with others, but deeply in myself, that when I'm triggered by something, that means that's something I have to look into. That's something that is impacting me. That's something going on with me. Very rarely are we triggered by something that doesn't hit close to home, right? Impacted and triggered are different things, right? You can see wars, you can see children starving, you can see abuse. That's not so much triggering as being outraged, right? But if someone's teeth trigger you, if the way someone is dressed is triggered you, if the way someone wears their hair is triggering you, um, then that's something that I implore you. The way that someone talks, um, I implore you to take a moment the next time you're triggered by someone who's not causing harm to you or anyone else. Take a step back and say, what's going on with me that's impacting me? And I guarantee you're going to find somewhere in yourself where you're not loving yourself. And that's okay. It's okay. This is why I talked about it yesterday. That's why I talked about it today, because I have noticed in the work that I do, but also in myself. Y'all, I have done deep work. I didn't just decide to become a coach because it was the cool new thing. I actually don't really like the term coach for me, but I don't know what else to call it. I have done so much work, and I will probably continue to do work until the day that I die. And it's not pretty, and it's not easy, and it's not all love and light. Like it's very dark. It's very, very dark. So I come on here, or when you see me on TikTok, or when you see me make a post about something, and I said this yesterday, it is something that I have gone through personally, or someone I know has gone through, or I have deep compassion and empathy, because I know this is going to shock you all. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I I know. Thank you. I know you thought I was, but I'm far from perfect. And no one's perfect. That's okay. Nobody is perfect. We're all here on this earth, which some call the school of life, to learn. We don't know what we're doing. Nobody knows what we're doing. We don't get an instruction manual like we do with our car or our air fryer that says, turn to page 15 to figure out how to be perfect. It, no. Or how not to be envious, or how to love yourself. No. So that is another thing. And I think we're done. I think we're done for today. I'm sending lots of love and lots of light, lots of introspection, lots of love, lots of compassion, lots of kindness. If you're just joining us, you're probably like, why do you have your arms around imaginary people? Well, if you're just joining us, because we learned about the term anthropomorphism, which is the term for giving non-human entities human characteristics, right? So my anthropomorphism for today is compassion and kindness. Honeybees, today and for the rest of your life, I want you to always have compassion and kindness as your BFFs, right? They're going to help you love yourself. So leave me a comment. Um, Give me one thing that you're going to do today to show yourself that you love yourself, right? Or maybe what compassion and kindness are saying to you, how to love yourself. I have deep love for you all. Happy Juneteenth. Please celebrate um, the freeing of the enslaved people, that all enslaved people were free, for Juneteenth in Texas. Do a little research on it. And I love you, and have a great day, and love yourself, and Try to sing Beyonce's Single Ladies in the Mirror and let me know how you did, because I did horrible. Okay, I love you. Oh, and also let me know if you like the Kim karaoke, because in these times of turmoils, wars, rumors of wars, and just all around, I can't curse on here, all around, just good Lord, just a debasing of humanity. We need joy and we need to love not only others but ourselves, right? So let's just start having some fun. I'm so tired of being serious and thinking deeply 100% of the time. Let's have some fun. Um, Whatever that looks like. Give me some ideas. Give me some ideas of how we can have fun. I was even thinking of taking my live outside one day. It's raining today, but to be in nature. I love you all. Talk soon.